Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a foundation comparison video between the Makeup Forever Ultra HD Stick and the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Stick Foundation. I recently went to Rite Aid and I've been wanting to try out this stick foundation. It is $6 and I picked up the shade Shell Ivory, which I think is the perfect match for me, and I realized just how similar these two are in packaging and when applied to the face. So if you want to see a comparison, a demo, and I'm going to try to do a wear test, then just keep watching. Okay, so I'm going to first read up on some literature about the two. Okay, so we're going to start with the Makeup Forever Ultra HD Stick. This retails for $43 and it comes in a wide variety of shades. I am in this shade 115 or R230, which is apparently ivory. This stick foundation comes with 0.44 ounces of product. It comes in this really nice packaging. It is plastic, but it doesn't feel necessarily cheap, and you just twist it up to get the product out. I feel like this lasts a long time. I have been wearing this probably every single day the past month since I purchased it, because if I buy an expensive foundation, I'm going to want to use it the most that I can. This claims to be long-lasting, invisible coverage for touch-ups and contouring, plus the benefits of the award-winning Ultra HD Liquid Foundation. It is full coverage, natural finish, and good for normal, dry, combo, and oily skin. That's what it says. And then we have the Wet n Wild Photo Focused Foundation Stick. This retails for $5.99 plus tax. This says slay all day and play all night with this long-lasting multitask cover stick, currently available in 21 widespread shades that are flattering to a wide range of skin tones. The Photo Focus Stick Foundation delivers long-lasting coverage in breakthrough, lightweight, multi-dimensional formula that applies to a flawless semi-matte finish, infused with argan and sunflower seed oils for intense moisture and seamless blendability. The Photo Focus Stick Foundation perfects your complexion and boosts your confidence to have you looking and feeling great from sun up to sundown. That's a lot. They do have 21 shades, but I have to say they are lacking a bit in the deeper skin tone range. I don't know if you guys can see here. This is the full shade range, and it looks like they only have really 4 deep shades. I feel like Wet n Wild always has this problem. They lack in their shade range. I loved their Mega Cushion Foundation, but that only came in like this many shades and they're all white. So I feel like in terms of shade range, obviously the Makeup Forever Ultra HD Stick has more shades for a wider complexion of people. This one, it's still a pretty good shade range for Wet n Wild, but it's definitely not the best. It's 2019. If you're not going to come out with like 30 to 40 shades off the bat, then kind of don't come out with foundation is what I feel. So we're just going to apply them to both sides of the face. Recently my face has been so freaking dry because of this weather. It's literally like 32 and snowing one day and then 60 the next day. It's absolutely horrible. So I have been using 3 drops of the Tarte Maracuja Oil before I put on my foundation. I feel like it helps the stick go on better, and also it hydrates my skin a little bit better. So I'm not going to do anything differently today. I'm just going to apply this the same way I always do, and this will be my primer. So I'm just putting a bit on my chin, pretty much the areas that get really dry, which is my T-zone, on my forehead, and then whatever's left I just kind of put on my cheeks and a little bit on my nose. My nose does get kind of oily throughout the day, which is weird because I have such dry skin minus my nose. So I kind of just barely put the product there, and I'm kind of working it into the cheeks. Okay, my favorite way to apply these stick foundations is with a brush. So on this side I will be doing the Wet n Wild with a IT Cosmetics airbrush smoothing foundation brush. This is C6120, and on this side I'll be using a very similar looking crown brush. It doesn't have a number on it, and if it did I probably took it away, with the Makeup Forever Ultra HD Stick. So let's just get into the application. Like I said, this packaging is so similar. I feel like if I just went like this, you would not know which stick foundation I was using. And the shades are actually super similar. Let me just swatch them right next to each other. This is the Makeup Forever Ultra HD Stick, and then right next to it is the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Stick. I feel like they're just very slightly different, but they're super duper close when it comes to shades, so it'll be good because I have to go to work today, so it won't look completely crazy. And they both blend out to me to be kind of a more dewy foundation, and then maybe because I put oil on, but let's just see. Alright, I'm going to start with the Wet n Wild one. So this is typically what I put on one side of my face. 2 big swipes and then a little bit near my chin. I'm also going to put a bit right here because I have to get my nose, and then just a little bit here. I don't feel like you need to use a lot of this product. A little bit goes a long way for I feel like both of them. So I'm just going to take a brush and start buffing it into my skin. Okay, so that's one layer with the Wet n Wild foundation. As you can see, it's not necessarily full coverage. My redness here on my cheeks is still peeking through, and my acne is definitely still kind of showing through, but I like a more natural finish foundation, so I'm totally okay with that. I am going to build it up just on my cheeks because they are so much redder than the rest of my face, and I do get a little anxious about that. So it's good. We're going to see how it builds. I'm going to do a little bit more on my nose because that also is super red no matter what I do. And as you can see, it builds up really, really nicely on itself, and it still has a lot of dewiness. I love dewiness to my skin, but as you can see from this side of my face, that's really kind of very red over here. This canceled out the redness while still leaving my birthmark. I have a birthmark right here, so it still lets my birthmark show through. And I think this is a really, really solid match for me shade-wise, and I'm horrible at picking my shades. And actually, I tried the shade Shell Ivory in the just regular bottle foundation, and it did not work as well for me. It was way too dark. So I find it interesting that Shell Ivory in this one is way lighter. Alright, now for the different brush and for the other foundation. So this one is a little dark for me. The woman who was shade matching me pretty much told me I could have gone a bit lighter, but essentially they didn't have rosy undertones that went lighter. They all were yellow. So we're kind of just chilling there. So this is a little bit darker than this foundation, but I don't really feel like you'll be able to tell that much when I blend it in up. I'm taking that crown brush. We're going to start buffing this in. And that is one layer with the Ultra HD stick. As you can see, it covered my redness a lot better than the other side. I do notice it is just slightly darker on this side of my face than the other one, but honestly it blends out to be pretty similar. I feel like only if you're gonna like look at it with a mirror and be like, that's a different shade, you wouldn't really notice. I'm gonna have to do something about nose. It's still really, really red. So actually the one that covers my nose the best is the Ultra HD stick. So I'm just gonna stick this on my nose and kind of let it sit there for a bit because my nose is so hyper pigmented and I don't know what I did for that. I'm also gonna put a little bit on my cheeks just to show you guys how this builds as well. Sorry, I should have told you this before. In the stick, the Wet n Wild stick, there's 0.42 ounces. So you get 0.02 more ounces in the Ultra HD stick. All right, let me just blend this in then. Okay, and this is the foundation on both sides. My Wet n Wild is on this side. My Makeup Forever is on this side. As you can see, they both give a really nice dewy glow to the skin. I'm going to zoom you guys in. Hopefully you can be able to see my skin. So as you can see here, you can still see my birthmark and you can still see some acne peeking through, but like I said, I kind of like a more natural finish foundation. It is looking super dewy, but it also did cover my redness a lot. On my forehead as well, I have some acne right here, and like I said, it's not covering all of it, but it's giving a nice little glow. This is the Makeup Forever Ultra HD side. I feel like this is just a little bit more dewy. And this was definitely a thicker formula, so it blended out a lot more. And I feel like it covered a little bit more. My chin, we're struggling there. But my nose looks really covered. My forehead looks great. I feel like this side has a little bit more coverage than this side, but that's to be expected, I feel. This didn't claim to be a full coverage foundation. It just claimed to be really long wearing. So that is what the makeup looks like on my face. I'm going to go ahead and apply the rest of my makeup off camera, and then I'll come back and we'll do a bit of a check-in, see how everything builds on my foundation, and then like I said, I'm going to try to do 2 check-ins today. It is 11:51 right now. I'm going to go to work at I'm going to go to work at 4:30, so I'll check in with you guys at 4, and I'll check in probably when I get back from work at like 9:30. So just give me a minute, let me go put on the rest of my makeup. Hello guys. Welcome back. So I just finished applying my makeup. It is right now 12:27. So yeah, did it take me a half hour to do everything else? yeah, I'm a procrastinator. So I went for a pretty natural look today. I didn't want to do too much, I didn't want to take away from the foundation. I did find that on this side of the face and this side of the face only, my concealer stuck down really weird. Let me see if you can see. So right here, and I found that this happened when I used this foundation before, so this is only con, but right around here, it just stuck down and refused to blend, and I found that on this side of the face that was the case. And I used the ColourPop No Filter Concealer, which has been a favorite of mine recently, so I was very surprised that it did that. And on this side of the face, it went on so smoothly. So I do find that with concealers, certain matte concealers, this does not work well with it. And I don't know if it's just the ColourPop concealer, but I had issues as well with the Tarte Shape Tape when I was using this with the Tarte Shape Tape. I've been using the Tarte Creaseless for a while now because it doesn't stick down like that. But I found it was interesting that it only happened on this side of the face and only in the areas where I had a lot of the Ultra HD foundation. So that's just one small thing that I noticed. Beside that, the bronzer went on really well. I used the Milk Makeup matte bronzer. I used a blush from The Balm. My concealer blended really well on the eyes as well. So it was just that one area that the concealer seemed a little iffy. And my nose as well, it seemed to kind of like dry down a little bit too much and not want to move on the side with the Ultra HD stick. So I feel like overall they look super similar, right? I feel like right now the side with the Wet n Wild is just a little bit more dewy than the side with the Ultra HD stick. I find that the highlight is as blinding on both sides. This is from Tarte, and pretty much everything is sitting really nicely on the face right now. I just do feel that this side is a bit more dewy than this side. But beside that, it looks fine. So that completes this portion of the video. I think personally, the Wet n Wild one right now is a bigger winner for me. And that's something I never thought I would say. I'm so in love with this foundation. But I just feel like for $6 versus $42, there's really no contest. And I'm going to see how this wears throughout the day, like side by side. But I know I've been wearing this for like the last 3 days straight. And it wears really, really nicely, but so does this one. They both tend to get more dewy throughout the day, and I like that. It lets my natural oils peek through. But we'll see. At this point though, I'm going to say that the Wet n Wild Stick Foundation is way better, pretty much because of the price, and it acts almost the same as the Ultra HD stick. Yeah, let me just skip to the check-ins now. Okay, hello. Here's the first check-in. I decided that the second check-in I will still do, but I'm gonna instead put it in the description box below because when I get home tonight at like 9, everyone's asleep in my house and I don't want to like wake them up. So this is the first check-in. I've been wearing this foundation for a little bit over 4.5 hours now since I first applied it at like 11:45. It's now 4:15, so it's like 4.5 hours? 4.5 hours. So let's just see how it's holding up. Okay, so just to refresh for both of you, this is the Wet n Wild side and this is the Makeup Forever side. So as I was kind of looking at myself in the mirror the other day and I was editing the footage that I just took this morning, I realized that on the Makeup Forever side, my bronzer is a lot more pronounced. Like, significantly more pronounced. Like, it almost looks like I have a bronzer helmet over here because my bronzer stuck down so much better than on the Wet n Wild side, in which the case looks really super natural here, and like I didn't do that much to it, so it looks a little crazy on this side. I'm gonna have to fix it somehow. But I'm noticing that things go on way more pigmented on the side with the Makeup Forever foundation. In terms of staying power, it's doing pretty well. I do have it settling a little bit into my fine lines here, my smile lines. I can't really do anything about that. But on the Wet n Wild side, it's a little bit better. Usually right here, it's really, really bad right now, but it's actually pretty good. So that's something cool. It's staying really nicely. Here I usually get a little crepey. It's doing really good. But yeah, the most significant difference I can tell right now is that my bronzer is so much more pronounced on this side of my face. Everything else, however, looks really good. The under eyes look good. I know I did mention that this side had that little bit of sticking down with the ColourPop concealer, but I did work around it and it looks okay now. It doesn't look too cakey, it doesn't look too dry. Everything still looks really dewy and fresh. I do think though that the Wet n Wild side just stays a little bit more dewy, and it said it was supposed to be natural matte, but I think with the oil that I put underneath it, it did make it more dewy. But I really like the way both of them look. It's just, yeah, this stuff went on way more pigmented when I was putting it on top of the Makeup Forever. Even my blush is way more pronounced on this side than on this side. So basically 4 hours in, I can't really tell much of a difference, except the fact that things go on way more pigmented on the Makeup Forever side than on the, which is fine. I like a more natural bronze, so I'm really loving this side a little bit more than I'm loving this side. And I put on the same amount of bronzer. But yeah, really honestly, they both are holding up really well. I've just been editing all today. So that completes this video. Like I said, I will put my final thoughts in the description box below because I will not wake up my family for a video. They will kill me. But I'm really happy that I did this comparison because in my mind, I thought that they were pretty similar, but I think on the face, they're pretty much the same exact product, minus 2 or 3 little details. If you're looking at the Makeup Forever Ultra HD stick, try looking at the Wet n Wild foundation first. I know there's not a great shade range in the Wet n Wild foundation, so if you can't get it there, it's this, I mean, Makeup Forever is also amazing, but if you can get it there, save like $30-something and just get the Wet n Wild foundation. I promise you will not regret it. So yeah, that completes this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you guys so much for 100 subscribers. It means so much to me. Thank you for watching and subscribing and caring. Thank you. Okay, bye.